Star Trek: The Next Generation, Starfleet Academy, Secret of the Lizard People. Chapter 11. As the larger Super Jovian world collided with its smaller companion, the android felt a shudder in the deck plate beneath his feet, one that started out small and seemed to build in intensity, until it became something massive and irresistible, and he was certain the station would be torn apart by the sheer power of it. But it wasn't. Somehow the alien structure managed to hold together, to weather a storm the magnitude of which its designers probably never contemplated. As Data gazed at the rear-view monitor in the operations center, he saw the waves of colored splendor that radiated one after the other from the meeting of the gas giants. For several minutes, nothing else happened. Then, as if by magic, the combined mass of the two worlds began to erupt in a light so pure, so blinding, even the android's artificial eyes couldn't stand the sight of it. And when it was finished, only seconds later, the resulting object was a self-sustaining fusion furnace. In other words, a star. A new celestial body had come into being, Data reflected. A new pinprick of illumination in the night sky, and he had been on hand to witness it. Abruptly, his reverie was interrupted by the sound of a human voice. "This is the Federation Starship Republic," stated the voice. "Hailing the unidentified station. Please respond." The android recognized the voice as that of the Republic's communications officer. With the station now unhampered by the radiation produced in the asteroid belt, they were apparently able to converse freely again. He tapped his communicator badge again in order to reply. "This is the unidentified station," he said. "Cadet Data, speaking from the operations center." "Data?" sputtered another voice, that of Captain Clark, he believed. "Is that you?" she asked. The android confirmed that it was indeed him. "What's the situation over there?" the captain inquired. "Where's Commander Sierra and Dr. Steinberg?" "Due to the radiation that permeated the station," Data replied, "I have not communicated with Commander Sierra since we first came aboard, and Dr. Steinberg is in need of medical attention, though her condition appeared to be stable when I saw her last." There was a pause on the other end, then, "Injured?" echoed Clark. "How did that happen?" The android told her about the quakes and the lizard creatures and his journey outside the ship, and about Cadet Glenn Majors, whom Cinna was still holding at bay with the aid of a phaser, as far as Data knew. He related everything he thought the captain might want or need to know, remembering the captain liked things brief and to the point. "Stay right where you are," Clark told him as soon as he was finished. "Now that we're out of the asteroid belt, I can send over additional teams to establish order there, and you don't have to worry about Dr. Steinberg. She'll be in sickbay in a matter of moments." The captain was as good as her word. Data had hardly begun to remind her that he wasn't worried about the doctor, that he was, in fact, incapable of worry, when a couple of officers materialized in the aliens' operations center, both of them armed with hand phasers. As soon as they were whole, the officers noticed the half-ruined door to the next room and the unconscious lizard creatures lying about. They looked at the android. "Are you responsible for this mess?" one of them asked. Data thought about all the lizard beings he had stunned in the course of his stay on the station. "Yes," he said, "this, and a great deal more." Once free of the asteroid swarm, the lizard creatures began gradually to revert back to their original forms. According to a fully recovered Dr. Steinberg, the glands that prevented the aliens' metamorphosis were able to start functioning again once the radiation that had disabled them was no longer present. What's more, the aliens, who called themselves the Omega, were so grateful for the Republic's help in rescuing them and repairing the station, they offered to share any number of technologies with the Federation. Captain Clark's suggestion was that they apply for membership first, an offer the Omega promised to consider. As for Commander Sierra, His group appeared to have fared somewhat better than Dr. Steinberg's. The first officer had his share of run-ins with the lizard beings as well, but his people avoided any serious injuries. Apparently, as time ran out for the station, they were on their way to the operations center as well, although Data beat them to it. The android reflected on this information as the turbolift doors opened and he emerged onto the bridge of the Republic, followed closely by his friends Cinna and Cadet Petros. Some of the bridge officers grinned at them as they made their way to the captain's ready room. Pausing, they waited for the door to open. Then they filed inside and came to stand before Captain Clark, who was seated at her desk, intent on the monitor that dominated it. It was a moment before the captain looked up and scrutinized each of the cadets in turn. "I'd ask you to pull up a chair," Clark told them, "except I haven't got one for each of you." However, Data mused, if the captain had asked them to pull up a chair, he would have been clever enough not to take her literally. At least he had learned something during his brief stay at the academy. Clark leaned forward. "I'm going to make this short and sweet," she said. "What you did on that station was nothing short of brilliant. And more than that, it took guts." She turned to the android in particular. "I know you're going to deny that you're capable of exhibiting guts, Mr. Data, but I'm going to beg to differ with you. And since I'm your commanding officer for the time being, I'd think twice about disagreeing with me." Restricted from dissenting, the android said nothing. The captain smiled at him. "Good move," she remarked. A moment later, Clark's expression changed. It was as if a shadow had fallen across her features, Data noted. "Unfortunately," she went on, "not everyone on your team displayed the qualities I would hope to see in a Starfleet candidate. I think you know of whom I'm speaking." Just for the record, Cinna said his name. "Cadet Major, sir." The captain nodded. "Yes. Obviously, he's going to be held accountable for what he pulled back there on the station. My guess is he'll be expelled from the academy as soon as we return to Earth." Clark sighed. "It's too bad. He was the most promising cadet we'd had in years. Everyone expected big things from him, myself included." The android looked at Captain Clark. "Sir, is it possible that Cadet Major's career can still be redeemed? Perhaps given a second chance." Clark grunted. "Are you absolutely sure you're not human, Data? If I didn't know better, I'd say your emotions were showing." "I did not speak from an emotional perspective," the android replied. "I only hope to spare Starfleet the loss of a most promising resource." That restored the smile to the captain's face. "We'll see," she said. "And in any case, that's not for us to decide." "One thing puzzles me, sir," remarked Cinna. "With all the times Data was forced to grapple with the lizard creatures, why didn't he receive a second electrical shock from them?" "Good question," Clark replied. "As it happens, I just learned the answer a little while ago. It turns out only the Omega males were capable of generating that kind of charge. And among the Omega, females outnumber males 10 to 1. The Yana nodded. "That makes sense. Thank you, sir." The captain smiled. "You're welcome." Clark went on smiling a moment longer. Then she dismissed the three cadets with a backhanded gesture. "Go on," she told them. "Get out of here. Thanks to you, I'm going to be up to my eyeballs in reports all the way back to Earth orbit." Without further ado, Data and his companions turned and left the ready room. As they crossed the bridge, the android noted again how the officers there were grinning at them. With approval, he thought. Commander Sierra turned in his chair. "Good going," he told them. "Anytime any one of you wants a berth on a good ship, you just say the word." "Thank you," said Data. Cinna and Petros expressed their gratitude as well. As the android led the other two cadets into the turbolift, he noted that his attitude had changed somehow. He seemed to be taking all this praise in stride, as if he deserved it, as if he was reasonably certain that he could earn their praise again. Could this be confidence, he wondered. Petros accompanied them as far as Deck 5, where her quarters were located. Data's quarters, and Cinna's as well, were on Deck 7. As the lift doors closed, the Yana looked up and smiled a tight smile at the android. "I told you so," she remarked. Data tilted his head. "I do not understand." "About Cadet Majors," she explained. "I told you he wasn't worth modeling yourself after." "Yes," the android agreed. "You did." He thought about it. "It appears I was not very perceptive when it came to Cadet Majors." "That's all right," Cinna went on, her grin widening. "Contrary to what Professor Pritchard may think, we all made mistakes." Data had to concede that his friend was right. However, he resolved, he would try to make fewer of them. As time went on,